The next time I saw him was that December, a few days before Christmas. Wherever you went, Christmas carols were playing. I was busy walking around town buying presents for all sorts of people. I spotted his car in the parking lot of a coffee shop. There was no mistaking that silver sports car with a small scratch next to the left headlight. Without thinking, I went inside. The interior of the shop was dark, with a strong aroma of coffee. People's voices were muted and Baroque music played softly in the background. I spotted him right away. Seated by the window, he was drinking cafe au lait. I just said hello. I didn't tell him I'd seen his car parked out front. I happened to come into the shop and happened to run into him. Mind if I sit down? I asked. Not at all, he said. We chatted for a while, but our conversation went nowhere. We didn't have much to say to each other, and his thoughts seemed to be elsewhere. Even so, he didn't appear to mind my sharing his table. He told me about the harbor in Tunisia and about the shrimp they catch there. It wasn't that he felt obliged to talk, he just wanted to tell me about the shrimp. But the story ran out halfway through, like a trickle of water being sucked up by sand. He raised his hand, called the waiter over, and ordered a second cup of cafe au lait. By the way, whatever happened to that barn? I ventured to ask him. A trace of smile played at the corner of his mouth. Ah, you still remember, I see, he said. He took his handkerchief out of his pocket, wiped his mouth, and put the handkerchief back in his pocket. I burned it, of course. Burned it right down, just like I said I would. Near my house? Yes, right nearby. When? A while back, 10 days after we dropped by your house. Then I told him how I marked the locations of the barns on a map, how I ran past them once a day. So I couldn't have missed it, I said. You are quite meticulous, aren't you? He said brightly. Meticulous and logical, but you must have overlooked it. That happens sometimes. A thing's too close and you miss it. Well, I don't get it. He straightened his tie and glanced at his watch. It's too close, he said. But I have to be going. Why don't we have a nice long talk about it next time? You'll have to excuse me, but someone's waiting for me. There was no reason to keep him any longer. He stood up and put his cigarettes and lighter in his pocket. Oh, by the way, have you seen her since that day? He asked. No, I haven't. Have you? No. I can't get hold of her. She isn't in an apartment. I can't get through by phone, and she hasn't been going to her mime class for a long time. I imagine she just took off somewhere. She has done that a number of times. He stood there, hands stuck in his pocket, and stared at the tabletop. With no money for a month and a half. She's not the kind who can make it on her own, you know. He snapped his fingers inside his pocket a couple of times. She doesn't have a cent, he continued, or any real friends either. Her address book is crammed. But those are just names. There's not a single person she can depend on. You're the only one she trusted. I'm not saying that to be polite. You were someone special to her. Even made me a little bit jealous. And I'm not the kind of person who's ever jealous. He gave a slight sigh and looked at his watch again. I have really got to be going. Let's get together again sometime. I nodded. But the right words wouldn't come out. It was always that way. Whenever I was with him, the words just wouldn't flow. I tried calling her a couple of times after that, until the phone company shut off her phone. I was a little worried, so I went to her apartment. Her door was locked. A sheaf of junk mail was stuffed in her mailbox. I couldn't locate the building supervisor, so I couldn't even find if she lived still there. I tore a page from my apartment book, wrote a note saying, "Get in touch with me," wrote my name and dropped it in her mailbox. Not a word. The next time I visited her apartment, there was someone else's nameplate on the door. I knocked, but no one answered. Just like the last time, the building supervisor was nowhere to be found. So I gave up. That was almost a year ago. She just disappeared. I still run past the 5 barns every morning. No barn in my neighborhood has been burned now, and I haven't heard about any barn burning. December's come again, and the winter birds fly overhead, and I keep on getting older.